Announce Reverend Sue this morning to talk to us about adventures in thinking.
Good morning. I heard her practicing, and I told myself, don't go there, don't listen. And then something about sitting there taking in the heart with which she sang that song. I think there's a piece of my heart I don't breathe into the day my children left home. And I thought behind that breath would be deep wailing, but maybe it's those tones. But it was really saying the mother's heart. My mother's heart, the Divine Mother's heart, the heart we hold for one another. It is ripe with divine love. So I thank you for offering that to us. And in the mother's eyes is what I turn it to. Uh-oh. Excuse me. So I'm here to talk about the adventures of thinking. And I was a little bit all over the place at my 9 o'clock talk trying to pull this together, because the very nature of thinking is to just go wild, isn't it? Until we really try to hone it in and realize what is being asked here. There's this idea brewing all the time, a divine idea wanting to be expressed by each one of you. And you know what? As you woke up today, and I was teasing the 9 o'clock service because I saw spouses come with their wives, and I think that's so cute, because they're just going, I am going to honor her, and I'll go. I'll sit there. So, will those of you who are doing that stand up so we can stare at you? I'm just kidding. We're glad that you're here. We're glad that you're honoring the heart of the mother. So the idea behind the topic, it's Designed for a Living, is a book by Ernest Holmes. And this is one of the chapters in that book, Adventures in Thinking. And I wanted to highlight some of his wisdom, but also dovetail it with Thomas Troward. He's one of the master teachers of Ernest Holmes. And then by means of this particular author, Genevieve Behrend, she was a student of Troward. And her work is called Your Invisible Power. And it's a really sweet, simple little book. But I wanted to share one of the meditations in there with you today as we explore this idea of the adventures of thinking. So I start off with what Ernest Holmes reminds us of, is that there's this infinite mind, and we are a part of that. We are one with that infinite mind. It is forever downpouring through us and speaking the wisdom of truth always, wherever we turn, whatever direction we turn. This divine truth, this divine knowing is absolutely flowing. And there's a substance in the universe that is longing to be made manifest by means of our careful and attentive thinking. And thank you, Chris Johnson, for reading that writing so beautifully, because it does go back to ancient, to the philosophers of all time, letting us know that truly there is substance to our thought. Every thought, this is Ernest Holmes, is a form of a prayer. Every thought is creative. Every thought is creative. And you could go, ooh, do tell. And those are those moments where we can not be very mindful of our thinking, and it could be all over the place, and we could be wallowing in personal whining or grudges, and therefore we become the author of our experience, and it becomes played out right before us. And we could think it's them, but we are the ones creating these thoughts. So every thought is creative, and they can affirm our good, or they can deny our good. So part of what I'm going to share with you today is this concept of visualizing it, so that you can create this sense of strong, steady truth flowing through you. And I lead into that. There's a small piece I want to share with you that I shared at the earlier service, but I wanted to have you begin, when we take you into that process of the visualizing, to remember this, that all you have to do is to make such a mental picture of your heart's desire. So I invite you, our hearts are wide open. Thank you, Phoebe, for that song. Our hearts are open. And when our hearts are open, there's a divine downpour of grace that fills that space. And so you're much more connected right now by means of walking through those doors today and making a choice to be here, to be open at the top for that divine inspiration to flow through you. But you need to put words to your heart's desire and hold it cheerfully in a place with your will, always conscious that the same infinite power which brought the universe into existence brought you into form for the purpose of enjoying itself in and through you. And since it is all life, love, light, power, peace, beauty, and joy, it is the only creative power there is. The form it takes in and through you depends upon the direction given it by your thought. Whoa, puts you in a powerful place, does it not? Puts you in a very powerful place. So I invite you to perhaps look at what, even in this past week, have your thoughts created for you. And you have a power to revisit those areas and apply a greater truth, a more powerful thought to be injected into those places, to see a greater idea be made manifest. I think the last movie night, or the one that Sandy Babcock had, that wonderful movie, there was one part in it that what was that movie called, Sandy, that you shared? Inner Worlds, Outer Worlds, and you can still connect with that on the internet. And there's a piece, though, it shows how all this comes together, but then there's a scene that it suddenly changes, and there's chaos. And there's a city scene, and there's people going every which way, and I just kind of felt, I felt closed in on right then, and I thought, oh, and then the next statement was, we created all of this. And I went, oh my God. We certainly have all of our random crazy thoughts, all our unattended thoughts. It's all in the city. It's all showing up in the city. And so I thought to myself, this is why we have such a sense of deeper connection when we're out there in the woods, when we contain some of that craziness that we've all created. We're all a piece of it. It's no one else's fault anywhere in the country or the world. We've all been a part of what is created today. So I'm inviting us in a few moments to visualize, something that is very meaningful to you. Interestingly enough, someone came to share in between the services with me. She had a vision, and she was describing it to me. And then she said, but I shared it with a friend, and they said, you can't do it, that you won't get that unless this happens. And she was haunted by that. And what do I do with that? And I said, well, number one, you don't share your inner vision with anyone. Okay? It is personal between you and the divine. You and the one. Or me, a minister. Now, not even me, because, unless you want clarity. But there's something that happens. Now, when you've got a problem, when you go share it to someone, doesn't it kind of fade a little bit? It's not so serious. It's not so big anymore. You're able to get your hands around it and your heart around it and see it a little better with the problem. Okay, when you've got a great vision going for you and you start to share it, it leaks out its power a little bit. So you own it. It's your vision. It's your truth. You can share pieces of it, but not the nucleus of it. not that depth of your heart. That's yours. That's yours that God has inspired, and a divine idea by means of you. That's yours. And it's yours to watch and to stand in great faith as that idea emerges. So interesting that I was going to talk about that, and she was just sharing, and she goes, well, now what do I do? And I said, tweak it. Tweak it and don't share it. Create it anew. Create it anew so whatever this friend was trying to share with you is dissolved and not a part of your new idea. And she said, I can do that. I can do that. And I believe that her idea will be made manifest. So it is in you, it is undifferentiated, waiting to take any direction given it as it passes through you as an instrument through which it has made the purpose of self-distribution. It is longing to be expressed by means of you. We are all these beautiful instruments of the one. So think about this. Pure consciousness, these are Ernest Holmes' words. This pure consciousness is at the center of all things. This pure consciousness, this pure potentiality, an intelligence, a wisdom. It's acting and moving through you. We are an individualized point of that. Awesome. Awesome. We have that. And what does not touch that is our little bit of insecurity. I'm not good enough. I don't think so. When I was in 3rd grade, I took something. It doesn't matter. Within you is this pure, unjudged, pure consciousness, ripe for you to plant a divine idea to be birthed. So awaken your thoughts. You want to think big, you want to think more, you want to think well of yourself in these moments of possibility. There's so much. Deepak Chopra is so amazing. If you've seen him, he has become ageless. And years ago, he started saying, we're buying into that idea. We're buying into that idea that we're getting older, that age is going to bring on this, and this. And so we all run out and get our Depends and whatever and think, well, it's coming. It's coming. That's where I'm wearing bigger clothes because I don't know when. It's going to happen. And I'm not, if you're wearing a Depends, I'm just, thank God there are such things. The baby's got one, right? And it's a beautiful soul. No judgment. But I work with somebody, and I love her. I've grown to love her more and more all the time. But I have to be just shaking my head all the time. No, because we work with a population that is just a step older than me. And she will continually reinforce, oh yeah, we're all going there, we're all losing our mind. Oh yeah. We're losing it, every single one of us. And I'm like, by the time I'm done, I'm like, barely I can walk out of there. And yet it's not the truth. And you can testify to that. Because there's people in there that are well over 90, and they're up on that treadmill. I'm scared of those treadmills. And they're up there just jogging right along at 3.0. And I'm like, you go, girl. And then the men are up there and they're working on those hideous machines called Stairmasters. And I am just so impressed because they deny that idea of aging. They deny that. They know that they've had an event in their life. Are they now conditioned to fall into what the textbooks say they should be? Not so. They are taking every opportunity to live their life, to know that that divine truth, that pure consciousness, the pure possibility and potential dwells with them the moment they were birthed and to this very moment, this day. So this age of doom and aging, Deepak Chopra reminds us, we are buying into that idea and we do not have to. So we want to recognize what you're thinking and start to allow some of your thoughts to be a little more constructive in their base. And another thing that Ernest Holmes brought out in this particular writing was that hurry is a fear. Isn't that something? Hurry is a fear, and it's destructive. So this idea of hurry up, and I can feel how destructive that is when I'm hurrying to work, when I'm hurrying to get here or there. We don't want to be in that state of hurriedness. We want to be in a state of absolute grace, just moving along. When you're going to get to work, all in God's time, thank you very much. All in God's time. If we can start to allow ourselves ample space to simply allow ourselves an opportunity to affirm daily, moment by moment. Here it is, moment by moment, you're affirming that this divine presence within us is what's in charge today, and we melt away this delusion of separation. It's a delusion of separation, that we're not good enough, we're not worthy. What a silly idea. What a silly idea. You would not be born such a precious human being if you didn't have this idea longing to be expressed through you. Now, interesting, I was looking at different people I respect, and Gandhi, I was watching his journey, and I've always been I love reading his story because I like to make myself his character. And when I read his story, when he started off, he was awkward in his appearance, awkward the way he looked, and then he went to England, and on his journey there, have you ever done this? You think, okay, I'm going to fit in, and I'm going to wear the right and perfect clothes. And so when he got there, he really worked at it, and when he got there, he was the only one wearing all white. And so you're walking around with black suits everywhere, and he's like, oh my God, I really stand out now. I've done that. I've lived up here. When I first moved up here, I was up here for a while, and I went back down to visit LA, and I still wore my bell bottoms, and everybody else was wearing those little tight pedal pushers. And I'm walking around going, oh my God, I'm in bell bottoms. And I remember thinking, so what? But there's this thing, you just walk around going, I know I've got bell bottoms, I'm going to go change. And you let these things define you, judge you. And they're so stupid. It's just an outfit. And what was within Gandhi, he would be so tender, so vulnerable. And so he would be in his schooling, and he wasn't getting it. He was the last in the class, and he was struggling all along the way. And then he decided, well, I'm going to go back to an area where I'm with my brothers, and I fit in a little bit better. And he went back, but he was very insecure. And when he got up for his first legal case, he could not even speak. He couldn't even get a word to come out of himself. And he stammered and he stuttered, and he just kept failing because he kept never believing in his true self. But then I love this piece. I love this piece because every single one of you has a moment in your life where you go, wait a minute, no more, no more. I'm not doing that anymore. I am standing strong in myself. And I heard that this week, and all power behind that individual, because I know that they claim that truth, they walk in that truth forevermore. Gandhi had that same moment. He said he was working on this legal case, and it was between people that knew each other, and the battle was going on so long that they were starting to really pick away at each other. And he says, he was determined, though. This time he was determined to serve the best interest of both sides. Suddenly, when you realize you're in your power, you recognize that you're really serving the deep self, and by serving the deep self, all parties will be treated appropriately. So even though everybody was blood relationship, every day the case dragged on, drove deeper and deeper the wedge that was splitting the family in two. With much talking, Gandhi persuaded both sides to submit to arbitration and settle out of court. Even more talking was necessary to get them to agree on the terms, which would not bankrupt the loser, but in the end, both sides were satisfied, and Gandhi was ecstatic. Now, wouldn't you be? Aren't you in those moments when suddenly you make a decision, aren't you ecstatic? Aren't you that you need to feel that sense of power surging through you, be ecstatic. I had learned, he exclaimed, the true practice of law. I had learned to find out the better side of human nature and to enter men's hearts. That moment changed his life. From that moment on, every battle that he was in, he chose to stay balanced on both sides and learn how to enter man's heart. I realized that the true function of a lawyer was to unite parties riven asunder. So if you're ever interested in reading a fabulous, easy book to read about Gandhi, it's this particular one, and I think it is in the bookstore, Gandhi the Man, Stories of His Transformation. So there was, in that moment of transition, was an idea that was birthed in him. And look where he took it. Ernest Holmes did the same thing. Every great sage, every great master, every great teacher and leader has had this idea stirring inside of them that has allowed them to become the master of their journey. So Ernest Holmes shares this: we should strive towards a perfect vision, a perfect conception. We should expand our thought until it realizes all good, and then cut right through all that appears to be and use this almighty power for definite purposes. Isn't that cool? You got an almighty power. Oh, it makes you feel stronger just knowing there's an almighty with you. An almighty power for definite purposes. We should daily feel a deeper union with life, a greater sense of that indwelling God, the God of the seen and the unseen within us. When we speak into this mind, when we speak into that infinite mind, that infinite intelligence, which we're all one and a part of, when we sow our seed of thought into the absolute, you may rest in peace. We need not take haste, for it is done unto us as we believe. In that day they call upon me, I will answer. That almighty power surging through you, isn't that just, you can walk out of here just saying, I claim that greater good. That almighty power is working by means of me, through me, as me, right here, right now. I have this greater vision, and it's birthing itself in me. So powerful. So they're holding up the signs for me, and I want to share with you this powerful meditation. Because I also they'll cut this off in a little bit, but I'm going to share a riddle with you, and I want to see if anybody in here gets it. Okay? So first of all, with this knowing, with this idea that you are the thinker, that behind the mind within you, there is that which is propelling itself to think through you. Okay, so you connect with this. That's your soul. You're connected with the soul of who you are. So I invite you just to settle into your seat for a moment. And this particular Genevieve, her whole heart's desire was to study with Judge Troward. And he kept denying it, saying, I don't do that kind of thing. But she went ahead and got $20,000 and traveled her way to be in his company. He could not resist her. And the riddle that I'll share with you, I call it a riddle, but I want to see if you know what that is. If she answered that, he would accept her as a student. So, powerful woman and a powerful vision is what she shares with you here. Go carefully into the thought of the principle back of the thing that you're desiring in your greatest vision. Establish it as a personal experience. Make it a fact into your consciousness. So I invite you right now to settle in. This is personal to you. This is your vision. Remember, your longing, whatever it be, health, wealth, joy, beauty, grace. Find that depth of experience and anchor into it as a fact of knowing that it is your right to have that. And then imagine that you're opening up a window of space and taking 10 deep breaths. And I invite you now just to breathe deep, 10 breaths. Drawing in that time a large imaginary circle of light all around you. Each breath, full and deep, and that large circle surrounds you. And as you continue to inhale, you're keeping yourself in the very center of the circle of light, seeing great rays of light coming from the circle and entering your body at all points, centralizing itself at your solar plexus, right there in the middle of the belly space. And then you hold the breath a few moments at the central point in your body, the solar plexus. And you exhale, and as you do so, you mentally see these imaginary rays or sprays of light going on up through the body and down through the feet, mentally spraying your entire body with an imaginary light. And then you sit comfortably, knowing that there is but one life, one substance. And this life, substance of the universe, is finding pleasure in self-recognition in you. You place in this moment the affirmation of your truth, and you allow yourself to feel and hunger for that truth, letting it stimulate and affirm the idea, the picture that you hold within yourself. Deep are you in the bed of consciousness, in the bed of sincerity, in the bed of the divine, in the arms of the mother, in the arms of the father. Here is where your idea is placed at the altar, and you're filling it with light and truth and power. So be it. So be it now, and in no hurry from this point forward. You just move your feet to the divine inspiration that allows you to follow that personal vision and to see it with such clarity, with such truth, with such precision. As you put order to the thoughts, and a thought of shame or blame or inadequacy or weakness comes to you, any idea of fear, it's behind you. It's behind you. You cancel that out because you are steadfast to that truth of your true nature. You are this spiritual warrior, this lifetime, this moment, right here, right now. I can't add any more to that. So it is. So it is. So are you. So are you. You feel that in you. Carry it with you. Carry it with you. So, they're giving me the old 30-second. So I'm going to, you know what we'll do? Oh my gosh, so fun. The YouTube people will never get the answer. Oh, you should have come to church. Here's the riddle. Okay. Troward said if she could answer what this means, and the city lieth foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth, and he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. Okay, who wants to come forward and say what that means? Oh, I don't know. I'm feeling inadequate. Anybody? Okay. I know you add those. You add those lieths. And the city lieth foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. That'll help you? Anybody?
The measurements of the eternal city of light within are completely balanced and in perfect alignment with each other in all dimensions, up and down, back and forth.
You may be a Troward student, young lady. Interesting enough. Interesting enough, the author found their way to an astrologer for no reason. That happens to be one of her life's passions. But in their conversation, she found herself asking the man what he thought it meant, because she asked a lot of different people, and without pausing to think it over, he immediately said, "It means the city signifies the truth, and the truth is non-invertible. Every side from which you approach it is exactly the same. The truth is exactly the same no matter how you approach it." Very, very, very similar. Right on, girlfriend. Intuitively, she knew that was the answer. Troward accepted her as a student, and she went on to heal and to treat and to care for many, many people on her life's journey. And so this wonderful little book, Your Invisible Power, The Mental Science of Thomas Troward, she puts it down into wonderful terms, and there's so much more to share. I'll save it for another time. God bless you.
If you appreciated this incredible message today, if it spoke to you, if you are new to our community, I need to invite you to welcome packets